What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm here to discuss Paradise. It's the new series on Hulu. First 3 episodes I've seen. This is a show that was referred to itself as buzzy before it ever dropped, and I was like, I don't know what this is. You can't be that buzzy. So, but it had enough confidence. Hulu had enough confidence in it that they premiered the first episode a day early before they had episodes 2 and 3. And that's a flex. And absolutely the right choice, because the first episode is the best episode of the 3. And the first episode is an excellent pilot. This series does have audio description, by the way. And we have Sterling K. Brown, James Marsden, Julianne Nicholson, and Sarah Shahi are sort of like the main cast members here. How to tell you what Paradise is, because I don't want to. I don't want to tell you what it is. I'm going to talk around it and see how that works, because it's still really new and it's got twists in it. What is safe to know about Paradise? Sterling K. Brown is, he's a Secret Service agent. He's the Secret Service agent. James Marsden plays the president. And the other 2 characters will factor in later when the series makes more sense. So he's tasked with protecting the president of the United States and seeing that, and Marsden is playing this sort of wealthy, people elected him. He was surprised. He's just now getting into his second term, and he's upping Sterling to his head of his detail. So he's now in charge, and they have a conversation sort of about like, why him, the conversation does bring up the fact that he's picking Sterling because he's black, and he's like, well, do you think the optics of having he's like, well, I have black, this person in my cabinet and this person in my cabinet, you know what I'm saying? Like, he lists some other people, and he's like, having you standing next to me in all the shots while I'm kissing babies looks good. And I was thinking about it, and the problem is that speech, this whole conversation just doesn't work in later episodes once they tell you. The reason why Paradise is so interesting is because in the pilot episode, it offers you 2 hooks. Pilots are great because what they're supposed to do is they present you with characters, like the general premise, and then the hook as to why you should watch the show. It's what Watson fails to do. Watson thinks that the hook is the fact that the character is Watson from Sherlock Holmes, and that's enough. It doesn't actually do anything really substantial with the pilot. It's just not a good pilot. This actually presents you with characters and a scenario, and then you see this hook that's thrown you, and you're like, okay, so that's what the show is about. And then you get to the end of the pilot, the first episode, and there's actually a second hook to it. So like, there's this whole other thing that you didn't know was going on the whole time, and that becomes another hook. So there are two big twists / hooks here to keep you going that I would say throw this into the genre of mystery. That's sort of where I'm at with this. There are some other sort of tangential, like, drama, thriller, science fiction, suspense, things that you could use. But I'm leaning on mystery here. I think there's a mystery that's most to be solved. Now, after the second hook is thrown, it has to explain that to you, which is what episodes 2 and 3 do. And to be honest, the more the show explains the second hook, is the less I liked it as a show. I want to be very clear and say I think Paradise is an excellent pilot. I think it's one of the best pilots I've seen in a long time, especially considering networks don't really have to make pilots anymore. Every once in a while you get a pilot that just happens to be really good, like Matlock is a really good pilot. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. Um, but other times you get pilots that are just like, well, hope you like the brand, like George and Mandy, I think is just kind of like, well, here's a brand, we're continuing on with the characters. I don't think Papa's House had a great pilot. Certainly don't think Happy's Place did. Shifting Gears is just sort of like, well, Tim Allen's back. I mean, a lot of these are just kind of resting on their laurels, and they don't, because they never really had to create pilots. They were just sort of like based. See, these networks aren't having to order pilots anymore. Streaming services are doing their things generally completely differently and giving orders based on concept, based on cast, based on who's producing them. And so the risk is higher because they're having to order like a whole series. They're not really doing pilot season either. But they're given the freedom of, yeah, you can put whatever content you feel like in this. They're not restricted to length in terms of how long an episode should be. So they have the freedom to tell a story. So all you have to do is get competent storytellers, because run times for various episodes can change. If they want to have a sex scene, they can have a sex scene. If they want to say the word fuck, they can say the word fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can just put things in there. So they have a higher rate of success because they have a much longer leash in terms of what they can and can't do. Here, it's cool. Like, hook number 2 is cool. It's objectively a cool hook. But when it starts explaining things, for example, I started wondering that whole conversation about him being black and like the perception. I was like, why does it even matter in this world? Sorry, I'm sick also. And when you see episodes 2 and 3, I think you'll kind of think the same thing. You're like, why? And especially when you get to episode 3, you have to watch like all 3, because there's a character that talks about sort of why everyone is who they are. And so if everybody is who they are because of a reason, then man, I'm trying hard because I don't want to ruin it for you. It's a really good hook. Then why would they have chosen people for whom the first thing mattered? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's all like it comes back around and it just doesn't make any sense. So it's cute, but I don't know that it's as well thought out as it thinks it is. Like, there's some stuff that happens in the 3rd episode to Sterling hooks up with somebody, and I was not here for it. He hooks up in the same sort of episode, and he's also a widower, and he has 2 kids, and he clearly misses his wife, and he's dealing with grief from that. And when he hooks up, I'm just like, I don't know, it feels like really early to hook up for his character, for where we're at. I don't know if this is a multi-season show. I also disagree with the character he's hooking up with. I'm just like, everything is just so... It went from being a great pilot to being just like a good show. Like, not a great show, but like a good one. Like, there's still mystery here. But I'm also catching up on From at the same time, which I'm not reviewing because I'm way behind. They just finally added audio description to From MGM Plus. For us blind people, we're all really excited because it's like, oh my god. Dude, the day they put audio description with the original Walking Dead, a whole bunch of blind people are going to be binging The Walking Dead, and just it's game changing. But so yes, there are a lot of us that are watching from the beginning just now, and I'm getting into that. And one of the things I love about that show is it works because it's got clearly this crazy ass hook to it, and it's releasing little tidbits, like bit by bit by bit by bit, and it's so well crafted that it reminds me of like Lost, of like when those people were dropped on the island and nobody knew what the fuck was going on and what the mystery was and why people were there, and there were this like a smoke monster, and you're like, what is happening? but you got it in little pieces instead of just a wallop, instead of just a, well, let me explain this to you. If episode 2 of Lost had been, well, let me explain this to you, I don't know that people would have been as hooked with Lost, because, you know, by the end of it, once you kind of know how something is made, if it doesn't work, if all the dots don't quite connect, then that's how a show peters out over time. And for me, I didn't like the final season of Lost. I like the first 5. I mean, there are parts and stuff and characters and little twists and stuff in the first 5 seasons, but I actually didn't finish Lost because I thought I started to watch season 6, and I was like, I'm not here for this. And I basically, for me, the show ends at season 5. I found that to be a more compelling ending, and I know how season 6 ends, but because I didn't watch it, I don't have to accept that as being the ending of the show. So here, I don't know, it just feels like it doesn't quite know how to balance the great twists that it has, and then it just kind of doesn't make sense. So it's got a great pilot to it. The hook is fantastic, phenomenal. And I can understand why that would be buzzy, because if you showed the first episode and only the first episode to anybody, you got a show. I think the mistake Hulu has is in bothering to show you episodes 2 and 3 at the same time. The multi-episode drop is going to kill Paradise, because Paradise is the kind of show that you premiere and you get people talking. You get people to see the first episode and you get people to talk about the first episode. And then from there, you build your audience. It's what Matlock did. Matlock, they premiered the first episode like a couple weeks before they premiered the rest of them. And the buzz was so high, and people had caught that episode on streaming because everybody had heard the Matlock pilot is nuts. You know, they're like, well, it's not your typical Matlock reboot. And everybody was in on it. And Paradise could have done that. But this 3-episode drop kills the show, because episodes 2 and 3 are not nearly as interesting as they think they are compared to episode 1. And they don't support episode 1 nearly as well as they think they do. So I'm very torn here, because I think it's an excellent pilot. It's probably one of the best pilots I will see in 2025. But I don't know that they're actually coming out of it. You know, it's a bumpy ride after that. And I'll keep watching the show. I'm not going to give up on the show. There's still enough that's really engaging and interesting, and I certainly want to see how the show plays out. But I just don't really have. It went from being like, a wow, this is going to be just amazing, to, oh God, man, oh no, unfortunate choices. And it's to have unfortunate choices so early on is just sad. Anyway, watch Paradise, at least the first episode, and see how much it hooks you. If it really hooks you, maybe you'll be able to go on with the series. I think the pilot is excellent. Pilot is just next level, and Sterling K. Brown is really good in it. So there are reasons to watch the show. I like the audio description. It does it mostly as a mystery, so it's all about the clues, like little clues along the way, picking up on little things and little images, little objects, you know. Those are told really well. So that's my thought on Paradise. Anyway, I'm giving Paradise, because I saw the first 3 episodes, I have to balance out the expectation. I'm going to give it a B. I would have given the pilot an A, but I'm giving all 3 episodes a B. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.